Welcome everybody to the Last Key Game Show, coming to you live from our Denver, Colorado studios. Uh, Welcoming our hosts, and also myself, Coach Steve Toth. Welcome to the show,
Thanks.
Of course, the show is streaming live on consciousrevolutionmedia.com, as well as YouTube Live and also at Hangouts. And our theme for today is Let Go to Grasp. So this is a game show, and it's an interactive game show, and we are going to continue to interact, actually and myself, until everybody else starts joining, because I know that's going to happen.
It will.
Sooner or later, and I'm going to let go when that happens. And is there anything you want to say about our first episode that we did last week?
Not really. I was really satisfied with that episode. The first one, the pilot, I'm still giggling about how, I built myself up and didn't even see it. But anyway, yeah, it's very flow right now. That last show was great, I think. Pretty much perfect. And I don't really have anything to add to it, unless, Mary.
They actually all are, if I may say so. Even the first one.
Yeah, true. And it played out perfectly.
Because we both learned tons. So lots of things have been happening with me.
Great. Let's hear it.
So let's start with that. And I wanted to talk to you about it, and I decided really not to.
Yeah, let's get into the show.
I wanted it to be fresh for the show. So interestingly, what happened is as you know, I'm involved in corporate America doing this kind of stuff, and I had a bet with somebody. Somebody actually called me out on something for $50, and I ended up winning it. And
Awesome.
What's interesting about it is that I made a big deal out of it. and he gave me two 40s and a 10, and I went to the bank to get a $50 bill because I wanted to make a copy of it and have him sign it. And I did that. And what was interesting is when I went to the bank, I ended up waiting in line for about 20 minutes for a $50 bill.
Wow.
And then I left, was going back to the office, and I was at a red light, and I was behind a U-Haul, and the U-Haul was actually had a car with a trailer, and I was just sitting there waiting for the light to turn, and I was talking to somebody on the phone, hands-free, of course, and next thing I know, the trailer is backing up, and my hand goes on the horn. Makes no difference. The trailer is coming into me. There's nothing I could do. It was a very interesting experience. I was just sitting there, and there's nothing I could do. It was like too late for everything. So this is kind of appropriate for a show because I just let go. And
that sounds like it, yes.
Whatever the heck is going to happen, there's nothing I can do about it. It's too late. Let it happen. And of course, she destroyed my front end. And then she, then we stopped, and then she got out of the U-Haul. And this is what was really interesting for me. And so I just wanted to share this with you and also with the viewers. I was not upset. So in terms of my own growth, and this is not to like pat my back and go, great, Steve. That's not what it's about. It's about noticing that I was not, because I really like cars. It's one of my things. Matter of fact, the reason I lease cars is because I like to have new cars every few years, just because it's fun, and I just like it. I like to have a nice ride. And and she And I wasn't upset. And she comes out of the U-Haul, and I'm laughing. Get this, I'm laughing at her, and she doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know what to do with that. She was expecting somebody to bite her head off. Somebody saying to her how stupid she is. And I was just laughing, and I'm going like, what's happening? What were you trying to do, and where are you from? And she says, I'm from Wisconsin, and I am moving to Colorado. And I said, well, this was an interesting maneuver. What were you trying to do? And she said, I realized that I was not going the right way, because if I go straight, I get back on the highway. If I make a left, I'm going the wrong way. So I wanted to get over to the right lane. And I was backing up to move over to the right lane. And I said, well, this is an interesting and very long apparatus. You're trying to do that. And well, that's very interesting. And she says, should we call the cops? And I said, absolutely not. I don't have time for cops. Just give me your insurance card and your driver's license. Let me make a picture of it. And I made a picture of the scene, my car. And I just told her, welcome to Colorado. And we both laughed. And it was so cool, because people were telling me, like at the office, because I shared it, and they were telling me, well, she could have, since you didn't call the cops, she could have she could just say in the future that you were the one that actually hit her. There's no way to prove it. There was nobody there. So she could do that. And I said, she's not going to do that. So the next day I call, actually the same day, I called to report it to her insurance company. And they said, by the time I called, she has already called and opened the claim. So fantastic. What a fantastic experience. You know what I mean? So what I'm trying to describe here is, for most people, this would be a really like upsetting kind of a thing.
Oh yeah.
And it wasn't for me. And I just basically had fun with it. And so what? It's just a car, and it will get fixed next week. No big deal.
Exactly. Wow. That's neat. That's good to hear.
So that's it about let go.
Yeah.
And if this happened years ago, I would have bit her head off.
Yeah. Funny.
Wow.
That's neat. That's funny though that you mentioned about the pat on the back thing. When you actually observe a lot of people around you, as well as yourself, you see that we're kind of leaned or slanted towards the beating oneself up. Like, oh, you stupid, you did it again, blah, 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 whatever. So if we're that free to do that, we should be as free in a balanced way to actually pat, like literally reach around and pat yourself on the back, you see that you got there. Yeah, because you see that you've gotten to this other level or spot, and your reaction to that whole scene, that was like perfect. That was totally like guru level perfect, because if you don't react in an emotional way to the scene, if there is some sort of a secret gift in the scene to be given to you, because everything, again, balance, everything, absolutely everything comes in balance. If it's a huge big bad, then something in it is a huge big good to the same measure. So a lot of things actually, that might have been all that was for you, was just the pat on the back, the realization in your own reality that you have moved along.
And that I don't have to react the way my mind is actually programmed to react is what I got.
Yeah. And that's
I did an override, I guess, what they say in computer language.
Yeah, and in one of the shows you mentioned that we were talking about how a lot of people feel played. That is exactly it. That whole scene, if you are played, would have pulled your emotional strings and had you reacting, maybe saying words that you would have regretted later. See, you're playing.
My whole day would have been ruined, and I would have
Yeah.
taken it out on everybody I came into contact with.
Yeah, because your puppet strings were pulled. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's neat.
Phenomenal stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anything happened to you?
Oh,
Something of an experience of let go of from last week?
yes, tons. And in fact, before I get into that, I was wondering that meditation that we were both doing with Jerry, the dark and the light one. Everybody is watching this or will watch this, you should check that one out. That's neat. Because again, there's a balance. There's both sides. If we ourselves can't accept one of our own issues or our own personalities, basically, because we're very schizophrenic in a way, then like if you can't accept your light or your dark side, then you yourself are pulling yourself apart. You're doing it. And we're all trained to. We're all trained to. So when growth happens, it's because of certain aspects of both sides. So you're either, I don't know, facing something, and a lot of people hear that, like face your fears or something like that, or to grow more, you're going to have to face your fears. And we think great, big, huge, big, bad things. But what if it's only an afternoon alone listening to yourself bitch it out at whatever you want to call higher self or God or universe, whatever you call it, because it has wronged you forever and it owes you big time now. And maybe that's it. Maybe you have to face, even if you're a best-selling author, that there's still something in you. There's still something there that you just have not even entertained that is at all attached to you.
Or maybe a good way to say it would be, another way to say it would be that you blindsided by it.
Yeah.
It's almost like when these things occur, a lot of times we're not even aware because it's such a natural automatic response.
Yeah, that's what's so neat about your accident scene right there. Your automatic response was shut down. You were not on autopilot. You weren't a puppet. You were in your own core.
And boy, I have many, many occurrences like that in my database, in my mind, how I have responded before. So it was like queued up. It was queued up. And I said, no, we're not doing that. We're doing something different.
Yeah, see, that whole scene, that allows you to do that, which you just said. And even reflecting on it right now is probably sort of sinking into your mind the amount of power that you have gotten back just because of being responsible for the reactions and stuff like that. Admitting it, being responsible for the dark side, being responsible for the light side. That's another one. A lot of us are a lot more willing to accept our dark side. Like in the church, and I know we've changed words because churches have really ruined words like God and stuff like that. But so if you have this, what they call evil side, which would bite her head off, those are the words used, right? Biting a human being's head off. That's pretty evil.
That's pretty nasty. Evil. Yeah.
So if you had that side in you, then you also have the opposite, which, in terms and words that we really don't like anymore, is the holy side. We use words like divine and enlightened, and we're trying to sort of water it down to make it more acceptable again, because we don't accept our own holiness, basically. Our own divinity is what it's basically said nowadays. But this is getting long drawn out. But you asked me a question of things that I had happening because of the spot that I am in. I am really in, and it sounds so boastful and stuff like that, especially with the way I said that about my book. But when you get to levels in your own game, it's hard not to be at least appreciative of it. And it's really hard to word. In the Tao, I think it was written by Lao Tzu, it says in the beginning something about this life, this power that is unspeakable. You just cannot put it into words, and so we use the words we have, and often it sounds very boastful. It sounds very ego, but it's void of ego, because ego's the reflection of what you really are. But anyway, so you asked me that question, anything happening? So yeah, the other day, the meditation of the light and dark side and all this, higher acceptance and all that, I had to be shown. And I think in the last video we did, I was seen pulling this one image apart.
Yeah.
And because we do that, we accept this side of an opposite. That's all it is. It's an opposite. We accept maybe, honesty. That we accept it. We love it. We love it when people are doing it to us, being honest and all that sort of stuff. But there's no way, especially if you're high up in society and stuff, there's no way that you want to hear you are a liar. That's just the opposite of honesty. That's all it is. So I'm up on this spot, and in my own reality, and I've written the book, and I'm on this show all of a sudden. I do have answers, so it's really easy to be thinking I'm getting up there. And I had to be shown in my own special way that I could bitch it out for hours with what you call your higher self, because it owed me, because I was a victim at that time. And this is not a time that's recent, but it was still in my emotional area, they call it emotional body and stuff like that, maybe from youth, where it could get so embedded, and we've grown up and out of it, and we think we've gone past it, but it's still there. You have to see it, you have to accept it. And again, it was like 5 or 6 hours of, my throat almost hurt. Pitching it out, because I'm good. When I was in the church, I got enough stuff that moved me out of the church, where I had a court case against that God, and I would win. With that court case, with that evidence, like a lawyer, I would put that judge on trial, and I would win. So I'm pretty good at this stuff. And so, yeah, I did this for hours and hours and hours. And it was like, oh, wow, I didn't know that was still in there. And that's like Jerry might respond to you in an email, go deeper. You got to go deeper, deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, means you're accepting more of this. And that's both sides. And once that was done, and I giggled a bit, what I felt literally, like, and I'm feeling it even right now. Wow. It's weird. It's like you are actually literally reborn. And it happens a lot. Like a lot of people say, I'm born again. It doesn't happen once. It doesn't happen once. If you've taken on stuff in your life, like you said, you would react by biting somebody's head off in the past. All of those events have imprinted on your RAM, on your memory, somewhere in your reality, somewhere it's there.
So I have several more.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't talked for the week, so I've missed out on
specific examples. So it was funny when you said the liar part, because my boss in my corporate world has called me a liar yesterday, and it was really interesting, because my experience of it is that I was talking to a client, and I was just basically saying something to soothe the situation because she was upset on the phone. And I basically said something that we'll probably get whatever we needed to get within the next 5 to 7 days. And my boss viewed that as I was lying, because there's no way to get it within 5 to 7 days. And he and I know him much better now than I did a year ago. And so for me, that was one of those things where he does those kind of things to kind of let you know that he's the boss. He has no other way. He does not know. He does not know how to empower you, as someone that's working for him. He wants to intimidate you. He thinks that intimidation works better than praise, and I know that about him. And so basically, he said, if I catch you lying again, I'll write you up. And you know, if you said that to me years ago, it would be a fight. It would be a verbal fight. I would engage in this what you call drawn out fight to prove that why I did what I did. And this time, I just walked away. I said, this is not worth any arguments. Let him just have his thing. Let him have whatever he wants in this, and it's cool. I know who I am, and I know why I said what I said. I don't need to prove it to him, because even if I tried, he wouldn't get it. So it's okay. Move on. Next. And then I had a big one yesterday. I had all my kids and my grandkids at the house. We had one of my granddaughter's birthday, so we had a party. And I have experienced, this is like so funny. I have experienced my son to be exactly the way I was when I was his age. And I mean exactly. I used to take situations when I was in public, and I would make a martyr out of myself. And the way I would make a martyr out of myself is that I would have this story that something hurt me, like somehow the way people interacted with me, or something somebody said, that I was emotionally hurt. And the way I'm going to get even with them is that I would just not interact with them, and I would want to talk to anybody at whatever public place I was. And I'm basically on strike, quote unquote. Like, don't talk to me. Don't interact with me. I don't like you. I don't want to have nothing to do with you, but I'm still here because I have to be. So I just saw this played out exactly the way I used to do it with my youngest son yesterday. Exactly. And I also noticed what the family was doing and how they were judging him. I was like sitting around the table, listening to everybody, doing the judgments, like what's wrong with him, blah, blah, blah. He needs to get fixed, blah, blah, blah. It just goes on and on and on and on and on and on. Yeah. And then my daughter, who's completely fed up with my youngest son in regarding this behavior, because he does this a lot, and I used to do it a lot too when I was younger. It's like there was some juice in it for me that I could punish people. You know what I mean? Do you get the emotion, the frequency of it? It's really dark.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really and the only person that's miserable, it was me. I didn't make anybody miserable, really. I was just making myself very miserable, and I could feel all this, and I knew that there's nothing I could do about it. Like there's not even any sense trying to do anything about it, because I got it loud and clear that my son didn't want anybody to interact with him. He just wanted to be left alone. I knew that all those comments that were made at the table, there was no sense interacting with anybody, because even if I tried to explain it, they were more interested in being engaged in that negative energy than anything else. If I said anything positive, who knows what would have happened. But I just felt I just felt that this is not the time. There may be more opportunities later, but for right now, and I was just basically quiet, and I decided not to interact. Well, my daughter got up and went out to talk to my son. See, what's interesting is this is how my son punished every thought that he was punishing everybody. So when it was time to do the cake, well, he didn't, number one, he didn't eat anything. Okay, we were doing barbecuing. He decided to stay in front of the house because we have chairs and stuff in front. So he just sat there on by himself. He decided not to come interact with anybody. He didn't decided not to eat. He didn't want any food to brought to him, so he was just by himself. When we did the cake for his daughter, he did not come in. He was invited to come in. He did not come in to do it with her. So he basically he was completely on strike, and so that hurt the feelings of my granddaughter, right? And she was crying. So and then my daughter goes out there and calls him on this stuff. Of course, the way she does it is at the same level of frequency that my son is at, right? by judging him, and that worked out real well because my son got so pissed,
Yeah.
that he decided to get up and called his family and said, "Let's go, we're going home." So that's how well that worked. And he was like 5 minutes away or less to go interact with us and get a beer and get something to eat. And how I know that is my oldest son was out there talking to him, and that's how close he was to kind of cool off and get on with it. But my daughter intervened. Now, I had an option there too, to call my daughter out by continuing this drama, and I decided not to do that either.
Yeah.
I basically said the best thing for me to do here is just to shut the hell up, because there's just so much stuff going on. There's so much, family drama that's been. It's almost like I recognize that this stuff has been going on for so long that we're going down like 100 miles an hour. And I decided that if I said anything, we would have a crash. Do you get that?
Yeah.
But there's a momentum. There's a momentum that's been built. And this is a scene that's have repeated itself over and over and over. And I'm sure I'm sharing this because as viewers are watching this, I'm sure everybody can find this in their own families. This is what happens at Christmases.
Wow. That's
Do you
funny.
get it?
Yeah, and I can see the show building itself right now by your words. Like we're almost at step 2 because of your words. Yeah, it's neat. Were you done?
So yeah, I just the last thing I wanted to say is that I recognize that this train is going too fast and I can't stop it right now. So I'm just gonna basically back off because that's the best action that I could find at the moment. Otherwise, we all crash, and I wasn't interested in doing that. So that's it. Yeah, I'm done. I'm complete.
Cool. Yeah, I just didn't want to interrupt because I'm learning that just let it go. Even if I have a thought about something you're saying, again, the show title is "Let It Go." Just let the moment play itself out, like you did with the accident, and the whole thing. If you could recall all of the shows and everything, and even the beginning of this show, is building itself into a step for a family that can move it up, move it beyond that. And we already get this personally because you have moved yourself beyond that. How? Yeah, how did you do that? How did you come to a higher point in the game? If you could put it into a short, statement or something.
Well, by recognizing that this is a game, and the games that I have been playing, the game has been playing me. I have not been in control of these games. Like who's being in control is my ego, my emotions, and reactions. Actually, things that I have programmed my mind to do because my ego wants to protect me. My mind saw all these events as another event that has already happened, and as long as it's something that has already happened, and I didn't get hurt, that's what my ego wants for me. My ego wants the status quo.
Yeah.
And what I want the growth. I want to get beyond. I don't need to be protected in this case by my ego. I'm recognizing that this is a new experience, and I can create something completely new by taking control.
Yeah. I wouldn't use it, the last part. I wouldn't use those words, because all of the words we've been saying throughout these whole shows basically is accept both sides. Your son, in your story there, your son was out on the porch or front of the house, not accepting anything, not food, not people, not words,
porch is good.
Not the event.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah.
And I bet you any money, I bet you $10,000 internally, he was also not accepting himself. That's his daughter in there, right?
Yeah.
So he's feeling like an absolute shit out there because he's ruining his daughter's thing, but he thinks he has to because this is the way it goes. So as far as the moving things up a level in that situation, if things calm down and you find yourself in the same sort of thing and you're aware enough, because I noticed, and I'll get on to how that is, I noticed you can feel what's right and wrong, but you'll feel that at this moment, everybody's addressing the surface. Everybody is addressing what they see or hear. And you could feel deeper. And you could address acceptance, starting with the one who's not accepting. And that would mean you accept them.
Right, accepting my son the way he is, and accepting my daughter the way
you. Yeah, now I accept you, even if you're as black, if you're the devil himself. I don't care. I love you. That is that pulling that thing apart, because we all want him to act like this, and we all resist that. Right, especially.
But the more we're trying to tell him or show him what's the right way, the more he resists it. That game cannot be won. I mean, that game is won, but it's basically a loss and loss.
But even the word "the right way," it's all right.
It's all right. Yeah, there's no right.
It's like there's nothing wrong with day or night.
It's just the way it is.
It's just all right. It's all perfect. It's all one whole thing. So when we get that, it's like, wow. And then all of a sudden you can feel that you've been moved up in the game. And since I said feel, and I said I was going to address that, on every show I've seen with you on it, even without me, you often bring up feelings, the goosebumps on your arm or something. You're often bringing that up. And you told me about how meditative it is when you get a massage. So you have a specific wiring, you might call it, if it was for what you call a psychic ability to feel things. It's very loud in your reality that is your slant. So you can feel truth. You can feel truth, like truth about the situation. You can feel core, which you said right at the beginning of this. You can feel, and that's your psychic thing. Isn't that weird?
No.
Like, that's playing the game. Looking at your own reality.
That's not weird.
I know, but that's like we see and sense and feel and hear things so much that we don't connect dots to.
That is becoming more fun. That is becoming more fun than anything else.
Yeah, and when we start putting the dots together and all that, then we start learning more about ourselves. Like, you are psychic. We all are psychic. We just think that maybe psychic means this. but your psychic is a different psychic. Isn't that, like, you probably didn't even know that. and there's 4 classes of it: the clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsens, I think it's ascension, claircognizant. And they're all different things: seeing, hearing, feeling, and knowing. It's weird, but we all fit one of them. We all fit all of them, but we have, different degrees.
One that's
And
stronger
yours
than
is
all the others.
definitely. And if you focus on the one you're already good at, if you can see it in your reality, that your reality is showing you this, then if you focus on that one, you're working with your strength. You're working with what you're already predisposed to. I think that's it. Anyway, so everything goes up because you're working on the strength. And it helps you. And when you get this, and it'll make your whole next week even more fun. When you get this, you really start to play more, because now you know a certain tool in your toolbox. That's all. Like, how do you use that drill or that saw? Now you know. And you have proof on every show. You got proof.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had proof yesterday on a show that I did. It was fantastic. I had this lady who has been talking to the angels, and she's written these beautiful songs and a book, and she kept referring to outside of herself, that this is all coming from out there. And I made a suggestion to her: is it a possibility that she's an angel herself and that she created all of this? and she said yes. And I was wondering, I said, well, why do you keep referring, like, you don't want to be responsible and accountable for this achievement? You want to give praise to somebody other than you. Why?
Yeah, we don't want to accept that.
Isn't that funny that we do that? Like, we rather say it's coming from God, or it's coming from it's coming from some outside source. Like angels are outside of us. We couldn't possibly be an angel.
That is so funny, because also this show is building itself in that before it started, I was outside, thinking stuff, and I got to kind of really point out about my book and stuff like that. I mentioned it is so powerful. I realized in looking it over recently that it was really kind of written with a slant toward people who believed in things like angels and God and Christian and stuff like that. Because honestly, I hadn't really learned anything in the Bible the way that I saw it that isn't all of this. It's all of it, including what you just said. And you also said your son. In your story, you saw your son doing the exact stuff, the exact things.
Yeah.
He's literally a direct copy of you. Like, literally DNA. And if you take in an entanglement, he is you living on if you're not here living on. Like, he's literally a carbon copy of you and his mom. And so there's an identity thing. And you just brought up that she didn't want to identify with being responsible for that. See, a lot of people hear about things like where maybe an Illuminati or somebody like that would just say, well, it's just being responsible. You just don't want to be responsible. Take on, have a sense of responsibility, something like that. And we take that on the negative. We take it as an insult or something like that. But it's a much broader thing. Like, she didn't want to take on the responsibility of the good. And this is funny. I said it was identity, and you said the son. And in the church, the son is the hero. He's the big boss. He's what they're all singing about today and stuff like that. And if people would examine, again, the secrets in there, there's events. Like I said about the first trap in the fruit of the good, knowledge of good and evil. That's an event. It's a huge event in that book. Another huge event is, the birth of Jesus. And another huge event is his temptations, when he was supposedly taken out into the desert and tempted. I think it was 3 times. And everything means something. 3 means something. Taken out means something. And if you examine the temptations, and this is, again, we're thinking of game and watching your game and trying to figure out the game. The temptation started with identity. If you are the Son of God, it said, if you are the Son, you just mentioned in your own story, your son is a carbon copy of you. He's literally, you could see you in him. And if we look at, the sun in the sky, that's another reference we have for the sun. That sun, if it's not there, life as we know it, it's gone. Like the temperatures on this planet, I don't think anything on this planet right now, unless it's underground, could live. Because the temperatures would get so low that a woolly mammoth would freeze like that in an instant. So that sun is the source. See how this is all starting to, that is the core of life.
Wow.
And it's the identity of the tempter or the deceiver or Satan or whatever. That's what is being his tool. Is what's your true identity, bud? That's all he's saying. If you are, and then he just, Jesus in the story just had to literally be responsible for his identity. Hold on to it. Don't be the human thing that thinks, program, whatever, that thinks it has to judge others and even judge this event instead of laughing about the lady hitting your car. It's all so interweaved, and it's like this amazing song. It's like Tchaikovsky playing out right in front of you, and every note means something, even your massages. It's such an amazing game. And being responsible for the I am all, or whatever, what do we say? We are all one. Are we? Are we one with our boss? Are we one with, whoever hurt me 20 years ago or whatever? I told you this one. What about the best friend that ran off with your wife that now you miss? The friend. Like I'm that too. We are all one, or we are not. And I'm just being responsible for being one, literally one with him. Like you said about the son, your son, you are literally, by way of DNA and entanglement and all kinds of biology, you are one with him. And it's funny because that source and the sun and all that, there's so many analogies in the Bible that it's amazing. It says, I am the beginning and the last, the Alpha and Omega. And if you play that into, well, what did God call God in the Old Testament? I am that I am. The beginning of that is I. The end of that is am. I am. And there's another part in there. It says, be still and know that I am God. Well, I can't stop this rush of feeling right now. If you get it, if you can see it, if you can just accept it is even possible, just a possibility, you basically start to see your own real identity. But you have to do that, let go. That's the show title, Let Go to Grasp. Let go of what you thought you were. Let go of what you thought those sayings mean. And we have tons of them. This is the universe experiencing itself. Okay, that means you too. That means me too. I am it. And I hate using the word it, because I know I did a lot of sort of like counseling, by way of just speaking to people that were in terrible relationships, and by people I mean mostly women, because they it's funny, they're in love and totally loved until they're got. They're married, okay, now the objective is done, the goal is done, and the man slowly starts to get weird. And it's like he's already got the prize. He doesn't have to worry about it now. He doesn't have to, he can slip into the wife, which you hear, at coffee break at work, the wife or my wife. And it's the talk is even this object, this trophy, wife, not Jane or Barb or Carol, wife. and it's an objectified thing where, what if you actually lived, if you could, and she didn't kill you, for 2 weeks, just 2 weeks, where you basically either didn't talk to her at all or called her it. And that's where, my excitement about this whole identity thing is. We say consciousness, we say the universe experiencing itself. We have a lot of words, probably because we hate the one that the church ruined called God, for this life force. Reiki means, what was it? It means life force. Chi means life force. Prana means life force. Energy, we call it source energy. Like the unthinking stuff running through this wall and putting all these outlets, powering up my laptop and stuff, we objectify it like you couldn't get away with doing to your wife. Literally, you would have the 2x4 upside the head if you tried to do that for 2 weeks. But we do that with this energy. It's an it. That's why I don't even like the whole life is the universe experience. Everything basically is the universe experiencing itself. It is, source energy, it. What if you are it? That, I don't know, unthinking, unaware, but it's experiencing itself, so it must have some sort of consciousness. And even this plays in everything. It's come from all areas of my life, studies, music, electronics, beliefs, church, programming, being in relationships and counseling. It is alive. It is. It's even in the observer effect. It knows it's being observed, but we keep saying it. Hi, Steve. How are it going? How are it, meaning you? How are it? You're a person. You're a personality. So is it.
But don't you think all of this is programming? Because where this has taken me, this conversation, is when a baby is born. See, there's lots of people that don't name their babies until they're after they are born. Not everybody.
I love that picture. You imagine the whole family coming over by the window of the nursery. Oh, isn't it cute? Not he or she, it.
Because they're not used to the naming stuff yet, and maybe the baby has not been named. And there are lots of people that don't do the test, so they don't even know what's coming, female or male. So it's really a totally new experience for the family, and they don't really know what to do with this new thing that just arrived. And then this whole game begins.
Yep. That's funny too, because you said just there, this new thing that just arrived. And we do this. Like you could have said this new baby, this new life, this new family member, but you said thing. And that's really kind of what all of our sayings are doing. Higher self is out there. It's not attached. It's not, part of me. It's not me. But I say self. That's like, huh? It's that's why I said earlier we're kind of all kind of schizophrenic. You know, we have two selves because we say higher self. It's our mouth, this right here, talking about something out there and calling it self. So we literally at least have two selves. Because we don't want to take it on. We don't want the responsibility of being, you know, as good as those angels in your story there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So going back to the theme of the show, which is let go to grasp.
Mm-hmm.
What is it mean to grasp? What are we grasping?
Identity. Because really, I thought of this one earlier this week, and it is verbatim true. I don't even know if you can prove it, but I know that you could walk somebody through their own life for a couple of weeks, as you know, I kind of did with you, and just point things out. Just keep pointing things out in your life, not mine. And then the identity starts to actually be seen. It's like I'm taking veils away from your eyeballs so you can see what really is there anyway. And we just, at least I just went through this whole thing about it. And it's you. We say reality is, you know, mirroring me. The people who are into the whole enlightenment guru stuff, your reality is your mirror. It is showing you you. It is you. Your true identity.
All right. So hang on. So what just came to me? This is weird. So what just came to me is language. So since I do speak several of them, so in the English language there is he, she, and it. Okay. In the language that when I was born, which is Hungarian, we don't have he, she, and it.
Really?
That's right. Every word already means, if it needs to, male or female. There is no he, she, and it.
So you mean like depending on how it's used?
Yeah.
Oh, neat. I like that.
So this is so funny. So I'm just connecting that. I'm connecting dots. So
Yeah,
I'm just connecting. Yeah. I'm connecting that to this whole identity crisis that we have right now in America with the transgender community, and the whole upset with the schools and parents. Like, what are we doing now? We're letting boys go into girls' bathrooms and girls go into boys' bathrooms, and it's supposed to be okay because the rest of our lives that was never okay. So let's say something about that, because it's directly, we are directly being forced to grapple with this identity thing.
Well, we're coming out of the Kali Yuga. It's I think I saw a video about the whole process and all that. We're coming out of this thing, which is the Dark Ages. For humanity, there's like zero awareness. There's zero compassion, real compassion, you know, like just in general for your whole race. And everybody's out for themselves. And like the whole secret society thing and all that. And, you know, before unions and things like that, you would literally be worked to death for pennies, basically. At least that's what we're told. So we're coming out of this cycle, and we're moving up and closer to humanity's true enlightenment by default. And it's said that, you know, and it makes sense, you know, it's said that everything orbits. Everything orbits. We have the moon orbiting us. We have us orbiting the sun. And the sun is actually orbiting Sirius, another sun. Mm-hmm. But they're elliptical. They're like oval, these orbits. And in the Kali Yuga, the Dark Ages, both of those suns are at their farthest point. Like the electromagnetic radiation energy from the two of them are at their farthest point. It's the coldest in the middle. That's what, and it kind of makes sense. Mankind is the coldest he ever was, kind of thing. And we had people burning women and just, because somebody said they're a witch, and killing people, and, World War II, and it's just amazing. And we're sort of being forced into enlightenment as a humanity. And this doesn't apply to everybody who does get their game. Maybe the next show will be about that, because of science, electronics, and even music, I can explain how, technically, even with graphs and all that sort of stuff, how it can't be possible that you have to suffer the whole humanity fate of a humanity that wants to hold on to fear. And fear is just a vibration. It's an energy. That's why you can feel situations and things like that, because you're feeling their electromagnetic energy. And HeartMath Institute has proven that we are radiating. We're like, they've measured it. We're radiating out our signals, and that's drawing back in signals and things like that. So you have to be allowed your experience, and that other person that's steeped in fear, maybe that person is a soldier or a cop or something, they're in it, they're in the whole drama thing, they have to be allowed their experience too. So it would be very not fair that either one would have to be subject to the others. And we've even said parallel universes and stuff like that. But we haven't quite yet grasped, because our mind just wants info. That's all. It just wants info. When it gets enough info, it says, okay, cool. I can let go of that right now and allow, because I have enough information that makes sense to my brain that, it could be possible. Maybe, we'll see, prove it. But it has to get to that point.
Is that why the internet has been so successful and all these smartphones and devices?
The what has?
The internet and the smartphones and smart devices, they've been so successful. They have taken off so fast that because the brain just eats this stuff up, it's like a smorgasbord of information.
Oh, yeah. That's funny, because after the church, me leaving the church with all of my information, feeling lied to and all that sort of stuff, the natural progression for my game was to go to all the spots where you're lied to. So, conspiracy theories. And I spent amazing amounts of time reading up on them and all that. And again, there's even, when I say best-selling authors and they're enlightened and stuff, like I don't know if I should be naming names, so I won't. But I don't mean just all those, love and light and stuff like that. And I need to pause there, because I did say something in one of the videos, and somebody has mentioned it actually to me, so I have to address it. I said, everybody be love and light, and everybody be love and light. It's pressure. That's what I was addressing at that moment. Pressure. Be what you are at this moment. Accept that. Let go of the pressure that you're supposed to be love and light, and judging yourself or others if they're not being love and light. You have to, number one, you have to be true. You have to see what is the truth. What is your truth? Are you a bitch right now? Are you like I was just the other day? You have to accept the truth and accept it wholly, completely, that is. And even if you don't want to, I then accept you don't want to. But anyway, you eventually come to this love and light, but it's a full love and light where you even love the dark, because it's just a part of the whole thing. And that's moving up to the judge not. You have to just accept that it's a whole thing. You're a whole thing. Your son is a whole thing. He has great days and bad days. And this is one of the things that would really improve a lot of people's relationships, is you married a whole package. So that's where the love and light thing was going. And now at this point, I don't even remember the question I was answering. What did you ask?
It's quite all right because the conscious hour is over.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay, we're back to unconscious.
this is how fast this goes. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
um, so this has been amazing. So the theme for today was let go to grasp, and when I created the intro video from episode 1 this morning, and I put it out there. I put some stuff out there by saying, um, this is like, come join us in the chat room to actually find the questions. No, actually find the answers to all your questions that you could never answer before. And I was so connected to that because that's really what this game show is all about. And it's not that we're going to give you the answer. Because we don't have I don't have the answer for you. You have
No,
the answer
you
for
do. Yeah.
you have the answer for
It's
you.
right in front of you.
But but it's what I'm said, I think more than once today, is to lift the veil so that you can actually see it.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened with me when I was interacting with I'm for about a month before the first show. That's what happened, is that the veil has been lifted and I could actually see, for the first time, how I've been played by the game.
Which is you.
Yeah.
You know, the universe experiencing itself.
I I am the key maker. I am the key.
In the Matrix, you literally are the one.
I am the key.
Yeah.
I am all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have goosebumps again. So there you go.
Mm-hmm. There you go. There's your proof.
There's proof. All right. So this has been amazing. Okay. So for everybody out there, just a reminder that these shows on Sunday, and I kind of been experiencing these shows, and I always hated to go to church, by the way, but I kind of see this as we coming to church. At least I am coming to my own church on Sunday at 10, which is me. What a concept. I have never heard that before. Have you?
I have, actually. If you understand the statement that they do teach in church, that the kingdom is within.
Wow. So
what do you find in the kingdom? The king.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you go.
Wow. Huh?
So keep coming and watching these shows. We actually made it already. It's only the 5th. I don't know if you saw the email.
Yeah, what were those stats? I didn't get that.
Okay, so those stats, what we've been doing here for years is every month, at the end of the month, we publish the top 10 shows. And that's based on the number of views and the length of time people are watching our shows. The average time people watch any one of our episodes are about 15 minutes. And
wow.
And the division between male and female is about 50-50. It's amazing. It's amazing. And that shifted, a number of years ago. The division between male and female was much more female and less male, but that has balanced itself out. So so what happens at the end of each month is we publish the top 10 based on you, the viewer. It has nothing to do with me or or anybody else. It has everything to do with you. The more you watch the shows, the more you tell other people, the more they move up in the top 10 list. And we have almost 2,000 shows on YouTube. So it's not a small number. So it's a good statistical number in terms of what you, the viewer, likes to watch. So it's only the 5th, and we already made it to the top 10. So we'll see if we stay on there.
Great.
Until the end of the month. So that's what's happening. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And again, these shows are free at 10 o'clock on Mountain Time every Sunday, and at noon on Eastern Time. And if you happen to want to watch it after, there is a small fee, and hopefully you'll skip a coffee to watch one of these shows, because actually for me these shows are priceless.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
And watch them again.
So so that's it. Thank you for joining us. See you next Sunday
And have
for
fun.
episode 3. I had fun too.
Yeah, have fun and play a
thank you.
lot.
Yeah, I will. It's all I do anymore.
Good.
All right. Thank you. See you guys next Sunday. Bye.
Bye.